AITA for telling my dad and his wife they're not entitled to a say in my decisions, even if they raised me? So, here's the backstory. My dad, now 62, married his wife, Mary, 16 years ago. They were both widowed with children. My dad had me, 10 at the time, now 26, and my two younger sisters, who were 8 and 7. Mary had 3 kids, Jess, who was 9, her son, who was 6, and her youngest daughter, who was 4. From the start, my dad and Mary wanted to create a traditional family. Mary would be a stay-at-home mom to all of us while Dad worked. But I never saw Mary as my mom. I never called her mom and resented the fact that she kept pushing me to. Jess felt the same way about my dad, she never saw him as her father either. Meanwhile, my younger sisters started calling Mary Mama because they used Mom for our late mother. Jess's younger siblings, on the other hand, called my dad Dad. But for Jess and me, we never considered ourselves part of one big happy family. We both deeply missed our late parents, and honestly, we weren't shy about reminding our step-parents that they could never replace them. I even did this with my dad, constantly making it clear that my mom's place in my life was irreplaceable. Fast forward to today, I'm low contact with my dad and Mary. Jess and I have moved on with our own lives. She had a daughter 2 years ago and named her after her late father. A little over a month ago, my wife and I had a son, and we chose to name him after my mom's middle name, the name she was known by to close family and friends. Fast forward to today, I'm low contact with my dad. Apparently, this really upset my dad and Mary. I didn't even hear about their reaction until they reached out to me. They were offended that I had honored one grandmother and not the other. My dad suggested I could have used Mary's maiden name as some kind of tribute. Mary was deeply hurt, saying I should have reached out to her first to check if my decision was okay with her. According to them, Jess naming her daughter after her dad was also an intentional snub against their family. Here's the thing, I never reached out to them about my son's name because, honestly, they're barely in my life anymore, and that's exactly how I prefer it. I ignored their texts and calls for weeks. Then last Friday, Mary sent me a message saying, "This is not how you treat your mother." At that point, I had enough. I finally responded and told her, "You were never my mother. My real mother died when I was a child." I also told her that she was the main reason I've grown so distant from them. That same night, they FaceTimed me. They insisted that I made a huge and hurtful decision without consulting them. They kept going on and on about how I should have included them. That's when I snapped. I told them straight up. You are not entitled to a say in my decisions, even if you raised me. I don't need your permission to name my son, and I honestly don't care what you think about it. Their response? They called me rude, entitled, and ungrateful for having such loving parents. So, AITA?